We just recorded an episode of Silver Blue. And the sound didn't work!
Yeah. Hopefully you're picking up the airplane. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Silver Blue.
This feels like a deja vu. Okay, we need to tell you something. We recorded a whole beautiful episode about how we come together after a long, 4 months of being apart, how we created this beautiful life together through all the things we've said in Silver Blue, and there's no sound. And it's funny because in that episode, I was talking about the importance of no expectations, of just doing your best and creating, working on your best version of yourself, but without expectation, regardless of the result, you're happy. And I feel like this is a test from life. Are you still happy with an episode of 40 minutes long, beautiful episode? Sound didn't work.
Well, life happens sometimes. And yeah, it is hard, but it's a test.
So we're gonna do everything that we talked about it, but in summary, okay?
In summary.
So you guys, instead of 40 minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes of what we said in the episode that you were not. And we looked good, guys. We had some glasses of wine with us. Everything was set up for you guys, but life is that happens when you're busy trying to work your own plans. So
yeah. And here we are. But that is a part of new beginnings, I suppose. Sometimes you have to accept that there will be new challenges. We're recording with a camera now instead of being on the Riverside app that we were using at first.
So every time you try something different, these things happen, right?
New challenges.
And I think it's also interesting because sometimes you're you want to make it perfect. You prepare everything, you make it perfect, then you realize it takes time and experience to make it perfect. So for example, with us, I feel like recording these episodes, even if the first episode nobody listened to them, and then some people listen to them, and in a few months we'll have a big community of people, right?
Yeah.
So, but imagine this would happen with an important guest, that you have him just once.
Oh yeah.
And you've prepared all these things and it doesn't work, but because you practiced before, because this happened in the past, I don't think this is gonna happen again. We're gonna check every time. We're gonna double check, triple check to make sure the audio works. So I feel like this is just a learning process.
It is.
I'm just trying to convince myself right now. This just happened. We finished recording and we're like, but yeah.
You just made me think of a brand new idea now that I think about it. Thank God this didn't happen with a special guest, but now I think I kind of want to take Silver Blue to a different level. We're in a new environment. Maybe we can find a community and get a guest who has some kind of spiritual knowledge and
sure.
You know what I'm saying? But
Anyways, guys, we're in Medellin. I traveled a 10-hour flight to get here, come back together. He traveled longer than me.
Oh yeah. I had a 18
hours bus.
Yeah. By bus
That's
I traveled
love.
to get to. It is love. Yeah, but we're finally back together. We're doing these podcasts in person. The dynamics are going to be a lot more fluid and just awesome.
Yes. Fuerza.
Fuerza.
What else? We were saying. Okay, now I'm gonna stop this. We're making this podcast since the first episode we recorded our last day together, and for these 4 months we've been apart, and we made this as a way of like keeping connected and remembering all these things that are important to us, and because we remember all those things and we put them into words, we were able to make this happen, make this reality happen. Like it's because all of what we learned and everything that we applied around the things that we've talked in this episode, writing your own story, being brave, overcoming fear, all these things that we became the people we are and created this reality.
Absolutely. Yeah, and another thing that we were talking about was, new beginnings pretty much. Closing out old chapters in order to face new ones. Not being stuck in the past or letting things hold you back or staying too, comfortable in your comfort zone. And then maybe getting to that point where it's time to move to the next chapter, but you're so comfortable that you almost become uncomfortable. You got to know when it's time to move to the next chapter and close the last one. And we asked each other, like, how do you close a chapter? How do you live the next chapter? And so we're going to give you a couple of short words of advice that you can take with you.
The highlights.
Yeah, the highlights. At least we know the highlights.
What are the highlights?
Number 1, know when it's time to close a chapter.
Yes. And life tells you when it's time to close a chapter. Rejection is God's protection. So every time things are not going as you would like them to go, it's probably time for you to do something different, maybe to start a new chapter. Mm-hmm. So, whenever you would like things to go one way and they're not going that way, maybe it's time for you to be like, okay, let me try something different. And then you start changing, and it's just that rejection, it's important, because if things keep going the way you want, you're never gonna be like, wait, maybe I should change something. But if it feels like you're working on something and it's not happening, it's not flowing, it's probably life telling you to try something different in a different way.
Absolutely.
There's something bigger waiting for you.
Yeah, there's something bigger waiting. And it was another metaphor that I used was the storm before the rainbow. So sometimes when everything feels like it's about to fall apart, or chaos arises in a moment right when you're about to make a transition, that's when you make the most important decision of that time. Are you going to fall to the chaos, or are you going to see through it to the other side and be able to enjoy and experience the colors of the rainbow that follow after the storm? So I feel like that rainbow can be the entrance to the next chapter, which is what I feel like we are living right now. I think both of us had kind of gone through a bit of a storm before we finally made it to our rainbow reality. Holy shit, I like that term. Rainbow reality. That's pretty fire. So yeah, I think on my end, some things started happening in my life, and I was tested, which is also another thing that is going to be kind of an omen. I also talked about The Alchemist that I'm reading. Don't want to go all the way over it again, but I recommend that book to anyone ready to start a journey. But when you're able to recognize the signs of change, you will be tested, you will be challenged on what to do next moving forward. So chaos arose. Thankfully, I had my bebecita walking me through some of those moments, and it was, a bit difficult, but with her help, I was able to stay calm, remain calm, and see through to it that all the chaos was arising and boiling up because it was the moment of change.
I feel like life also tests you. Like it's sometimes life is like, do you really want this?
Yeah.
You know, like kind of like it tests you to see if you really want something.
Specifically that question, yeah.
Yeah, and only when you're like, yes, because in that moment you could be like, ooh, maybe I don't, and then you just change.
Exactly.
But if you're like, yes, if you're consistent and if you're sure about what you want, I think another thing, what made this happen is that we never questioned if this was something we wanted or not. We knew we wanted this, and because we knew we wanted this, we just stayed strong. And it was not a matter of like if it was gonna happen, but when it was gonna happen.
For those of you who don't understand, in the previous episode...
Nobody understands, nobody listened to this episode.
So whenever we're staying by like an airport and we were trying to find a way to like celebrate every time an airplane flew by rather than looking at it as a negative.
No, because you said it was like weird.
Yeah, we're taking flight. Yeah, I said we're taking flight.
So we need to celebrate every time there's a plane.
Absolutely. We're taking flight and moving up. So every time we hear a plane, I guess we're living by an airport, we just celebrate. So,
okay.
yeah.
I
lost track. Oh, yeah. So...
Yeah, basically, it was because we were sure about what we wanted. There was no question about it, that even when things got a bit difficult or challenging, we stayed strong. And it was not a matter of if it was going to happen, but when and how we were going to make it work.
Absolutely.
I think that works for everything. If you're sure about something, if you're constant, there's no way you're not going to get it. It's not a matter of if you're gonna get it, but when. And then you realize, like, is the people who stay consistent who succeed in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like us recording this twice.
Back to back. It's not like we took a break and we're like, let's get back to it later. Like, no, we had to do it right now. The sun is still hitting us at a beautiful time. And, we're just moving through this new chapter with new open eyes, and we're accepting these challenges and not falling victim to them.
So one of the questions was what is the best way to close a chapter?
Right.
And you were saying
the best way to close a chapter is pretty much to do it with acceptance and acceptance instead of resistance, or the word I said was maldad, which I guess kind of works, you know. You don't want to end with evil emotions or resentment or regret or any negativity that will carry on into the next chapter of your life, because then you won't even enjoy it as much. You won't be able to take in the rainbow. You might not even get a rainbow if you close out your previous chapter with anything negative. So the example I used was a breakup. If you were going to break up with someone, a lot of people feel the best way to do that is to block the person, end off in a big ass crazy argument, blame the other person for everything they felt, all of that, the worst things to do. And then moving on to your next chapter is going to carry that energy. Whether you find a rebound or you find other ways to cope, like drinking or whatever the hell, like whatever, it's moving into the next phase of your life with negativity. And some people may like that. Me personally, no sir. So I think the best way to...
I don't know if there are people... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Finish your point.
Well, I was going to say the best way to move from the previous chapter and close the previous chapter is through acceptance that that chapter has come to an end. Mm-hmm. Don't blame, don't be upset, just accept the fact that you are now ready to move on in life to something new.
I was gonna say, I don't know if people like it. Mm-hmm. I think it's more like people, they think it's the way. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
They feel like it's the way they learned to do it. And I feel like in life you can see things that happen as like what we're saying, right? You can be in the victim perspectives where life happens to you and poor you and everybody, you blame people, you blame your ex for that breakup, you blame your family for the way you you grew up and all these things. But you can also see it as like what happened is now nobody's fault. It's just what had to happen in order for you to become the person you are. Mm-hmm. So you can also see it like as messages from the universe. If you feel like the universe is constantly communicating with you and guiding you, then if something doesn't work, you don't need to blame someone like it was because of your fault. You're like, okay, well, this is not working this way. It's probably because it has to go a different way. And it's not like about if someone did something wrong or not. It's just about learning from the experience and keep going in the direction that you feel is the best direction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then the next question that we asked was, what's the best way to start a new chapter? And what were you saying about that?
What did I say?
You don't remember?
The best way to start a new chapter is visualizing what you want. Mm-hmm. We also talked about the importance of knowing what you want, right? You can be like getting rid of all the things that you don't want, but then what do you want, right? Once you know what you want, then once you realize the things that you don't want in your life anymore, then okay, what do you want? That's the reality you're gonna create. So I feel like it's important to visualize what you want, set an intention, and start. It's a perfect opportunity to start becoming a new person, the person you wanted to be. It's usually when there's a new chapter in your life, you usually are in a new environment with new people, and that helps you trying new things, getting rid of bad habits, implementing new habits, and just becoming better, just becoming a better version of yourself. It's just a new opportunity to be someone you want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then I followed off with that. I was trying to retrace my steps too. So yeah, when you're accepting these new beginnings and realizing that you can become whoever you want to become in this next chapter, the best way to walk into a new chapter is to do it with an open mind and with wondering eyes, like the eyes of a, curiosity. You want to be able to look at new things and just think like, man, what can I make happen? Who can I become? The other example I used was starting it like a fresh sheet of paper that you can draw anything on. You can write anything on it, draw, do whatever you want to do, but it's a fresh slate. And celebrate the newness of this chapter that you are walking into, no matter where you are in life. Whether you have decided to change environments, whether you have decided to leave your hometown, leave a relationship that no longer serves you, whatever the case may be, walk into this new chapter of your life with excitement, curiosity, and joy, and also accept that there are going to be new things in this new reality. New life, new challenges, new things to face, but be happy about it because you're evolving, so yeah, that's the best way I would say to walk into a new chapter is to enjoy it as much as you can, even the challenges, even if you record 40 minutes of an episode and it just gets fucked up and the sound doesn't work, start over.
Patience, the importance of patience.
Absolutely.
I feel like,
both things.
Especially when you're doing new things for the first time, it's normal to make mistakes. It's normal to think for things not to go as you wanted them to go.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get impatient and being like, this is not for me. Or, I could have said, I don't want to record Silver Blue anymore.
Yeah,
Or you can breathe and be like, okay, let's do it again.
We learned from a mistake. We don't know exactly what happened, but here we are again, pushing forward and excited, still smiling, still happy, still laughing. It's a challenge that we overcame, and there will be others.
And you know what? I feel like because of the way we face challenges, this is gonna work. Like, it's just because I don't see so many people being like, okay, let's do it again. Like, I feel like knowing how to cope with challenges and then just the perspective. That's why I feel like it's important to. Okay, battery is about to die. I think that's why it's important. This perspective, like the way you see life, the perspective where the eyes you see life, it's gonna change your experience, your reality. So I think that's it, because we're running out of battery.
Don't want it to close out on you guys, so we love you. Sorry for the short episode, but we'll have more soon, and you guys stay tuned, all right?